Hi, I'm Gavin, and I'm standing here with the new Kennedy Composites Vladimir Models Snipe. I said on RC Groups that I would take a video of its pieces, parts, because there's not a lot of information on the plane yet. So we'll start out with the fuselage. The fuselage from the front forward is just like the Blaster 3. It has the same Kevlar nose cone as the Blaster 3. I lined them up next to each other with my blasters, and it's the same. So you guys already know about that. We'll ditch that for a minute. And the fuse from the nose cone where it mounts forward is the same as the Blaster 3, except I don't know if the materials are different. I went with the JR 188 HVs. It's a new servo for me. I haven't used it a lot. Seems to be working fine. I've got some flack over it, but you know, this plane is light. This plane came out at 227 grams, so I think the servos are handling the load just fine. I've got about 80 to 100 launches on it so far. I'm using a 350 LiPo, small carbon plate to bond all the servos together so that if one of them comes loose, they're all holding each other. And I'm using the brand new Spectrum AR6260 receiver tucked away up in the cowling. It is a dual antenna receiver. So far so good. It's awesome. It's been being flown for about a year with great success. So check that out on the Horizon website. The aileron push rods are the same as the Blaster 3. You'll be familiar with those. They give you a little piece of tubing to mount inside the, I guess we'll call this a cowling, or what, not cowling, but a fuselage kind of cowling thing. And if you see, the rods are just under the surface, and you flex them up to hook them onto the horns. It has the same potted in sort of wing as a Blaster 3 with the cones to spread out the load. They go around the boom, same fuselage screws that the Blaster 3 used, and that causes it to be really streamlined. These little grooves I put in there because I mounted my horns in my wing rod, so I wing wrong, so I had to put those little notches in there. My second one I didn't do that with, so we'll do a little build log on this plane later on and make sure everyone gets that right, because I didn't have anything to go off. So the boom is a round boom. Looks like it's made with the new Vlad carbon. I don't know what's underneath it yet because we haven't broken one. And then we'll go to the stab mount. The stab mount, as you see it, is on the bottom because it's a pull string. So some people like that, some people don't, but whatever. It is made of carbon and has the same screws as the back of the wing screw for the wing, and there's little steel inserts in there. This little tube is just a tube holding my Dyneema wire from going into the fuse so I can find it later. We'll move on to the vertical. The vertical is made out of the Vlad carbon. It is pretty neatly made because it's the hinge line is molded in. They give you little steel inserts to put in to the hinge line for your spring, which you can kind of see the spring. I opted for a different wire for my spring. I didn't use the stock one. Pull spring, just like you guys have seen 100 times. All right, so that's the vertical and the stab mount, round boom, cowling, nose cone, 350 LiPo. I had to put 7 grams of weight in this one. My son's, I didn't have to put any weight in. I moved everything forward, and that solved that. It came out at 222 grams, and so that's that. We'll move on to the wings. That's what you guys want to see anyways. Now let's go with the stab. The stab, we'll get that out of the way. The stab, same as the vertical, Vlad carbon, same little tubes, spring, molded in hinges. Makes it very, very strong. You can see the spar, and the greatest thing about it is the radius screw inserts are already molded in there for you so that the screws fit very flush and rock solid. When you mount the tail down, it's like it's already lined up. It's perfect. So I used a 022 wire that I had. It's just a high-grade wire. It made my own springs. I'm pretty happy with it. I can't outthrow it. Well, it's pull-up anyway, so I wouldn't outthrow it anyways. But and then it gives you little G10 horns. So you guys see that. I'll put that down. Now let's go to the wings. That's what you guys want to see anyways. Snipe wing. Blaster 3 wing. I don't know if you get a size on that, but let's put them over top of each other. If we kind of line the tips up, you can see I put the tape holding my things, but you can see what the difference is. There's quite a bit of difference, you know, about an inch. There's a little bit on the leading edge. They don't line up the same, but a little bit different. But that's the size difference. So the Snipe is not a micro wing by any means, but it's much smaller than the Blaster 3, which was considered a huge wing. One of my favorite wings, actually. Now we'll go to the wing. The wing is incredibly strong. The new molding process that they do, you guys will learn about that later, I'm sure. I'm not going to tell you about it. I guess it's just, you know, solid core foam, molded. It has a little bit of a bump out there that makes it line up with the fuselage for the nose cone. Molded in recesses for the screws, same screws as the Blaster 3. The hinge line is the same as the tails, molded in all the way around on the hinge line. So the thing, and then on the bottom here is what everyone wants to see. These are the little carbon L-bend horns that glue into the side of the aileron, which makes it like a little torque tube. And I glued mine in wrong, so they arise, and that's what those notches are. You see, it doesn't stay flush, but if you mount them up here, they will be flush. You won't have to put thing in. I get 90 degrees of travel out of that, so you see how that works. Fits down in the fuse. The fuse has those cones that mount the wing, so you can see where those are potted in there. Little tiny screws hold it in, doesn't take much. And for the blade, I had to make my own blade. It's a T-blade. It's my new radius blade. It's got some gook on it that I didn't clean off with sandpaper yet. I just put it on there. It's radiused for your thumb to fit in there. You can see that. So when you grab it, it's radiused on the back side. I really like the feel of that. I'm not a big Seagull blade fan. I hook it, but this plane I'm really hooking really bad, and that's because it's light. I just haven't figured the timing out on it yet. The logo is clear coated over. You can't feel it. This wing has a little bit of print through of the carbon, just a little tiny bit if you look at it in the shine of the sun, but the finish is incredible. Super smooth, top and bottom cleared, just like the rest of Vladimir's work, almost perfect. You have a hard time. You look so hard to find faults that then you realize that there are none. There's very little. You can see there is a spar going through there. Spar, you know, there's no spar in the wing, it's just foam, but there is a spar that they're giving you, and I'm sure it's on the top. I haven't been able to see it. Yeah, I actually see it right there in the carbon. So there's the wing. So this is the Snipe. I'm going to post this on our RC groups in a minute, and so you guys can see it. And we'll give a shout out to, I'm leaving tomorrow for the Worlds with my son. We're going to Denmark, and wish us luck. Thanks.